Welcome back to Main Street, the Craig L. Hayes Show. And welcome back, everybody, family, friends, listeners all around the planet we call home, and all my fellow Americans. Welcome back to Main Street. We're going to be we're continuing our interview, I should say, with Wendell Snow, good buddy of mine from many years. And I think we've gotten to a point where you've gone to college finally, and going to decide you're going to go be an appraiser instead.
Yep. So the appraisal thing came about because so after the mission, I went down to New Zealand for about a year to try and get a business going, and was just really struggling because I was not in a major metropolitan area. And growing up in Las Vegas, I got spoiled, 24/7, 365 town, and nothing closes. And as a young adult, Vegas is like a dream city to be. Not because I was a wild party animal, but because there's just always something fun to do, and without getting in trouble either, And so, but I was living in a small town in New Zealand from 91 to 92, a small town called Whakatane, and no, that's not a cuss word. That's how you say it.
It's exactly how you say it, yeah. First time I heard it, I said, "Say what, guys?"
Yeah.
You said, "No, it's a real town."
The anglicized name is Wakatani, but so anyway, I was living there, small town, and everything closed up at 6 o'clock except for the bars. And I wasn't a drinker, and so I was like, "Oh my goodness, what do I do?" And I was getting stir crazy, and it was wonderful being there. I enjoyed being back in New Zealand and visiting with relatives and spending time with my aunties and uncles and all that. But I tried dating girls, and I could not understand these Kiwi girls for a minute. And I was like, man, I need an American girl is what I need. So after a year of really just, flummoxing around and actually not really making much money anyway, I thought I'm coming back to the States. And so came back to Vegas in 92. And that's kind of when I realized I really need to do college and do something with my life. And so earnestly got myself into UNLV and started that. At around 97, I decided I need to get my citizenship because in order to be a teacher, they said I'd have an easier path to become a teacher if I had my citizenship.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, sure. And having permanent residency was nice, but I thought, why not? I'll get my citizenship. So glad I did it. And prior to 9/11, and because it cost me $275, it was easy as all get out. When I went in for the interview with the officer, we were talking a little bit, and he asked me just a couple of cursory questions, and then he said, did you ever do scouting or anything? I go, yeah, I got my Eagle Scout, and he goes, oh, this interview's done, you pass. And because I'd gotten my Eagle Scout, the guy decided that that was good enough for him.
It had clout back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I was like, glad for that. And what was interesting is the day that I got sworn in as a U.S. citizen, there were 2,000 of us to be sworn in that day, so many that there wasn't a courthouse big enough to hold us, that we could invite friends and family. So the Las Vegas Motor Speedway had been open for a year or two, I think, and so they decided to put us out at the clay track. I think they call it the bull ring, and that's where I was sworn as a citizen. And I thought, man, what a redneck way to be sworn in as a citizen! Is out at the Motor Speedway on the clay track, with all 2,000 of us being sworn in. And it was pretty awesome. I had a roommate at the time who worked for Channel 3, and I was like, hey, get a crew out there, and because I think that's going to be significant. And actually, it turned out they were the only news crew there, and they were glad they were there because there was all kinds of dignitaries there. The governor showed up. I don't remember what Harry Reid was. I think he was senator at the time, but he showed up, and there were several other high-profile dignitaries. And so Channel 3 got to interview them, and they interviewed me and a couple of other people who had just become citizens, and so it was kind of a neat experience. And there was some guy, part of a rock band, who sang the anthem, but he was a British guy and had become a citizen too. I can't think of his name now, but he did a really good job singing the anthem.
Remember what band he was in, or?
Oh, they're the ones who sang. Oh, shoot, how does that song go? I forget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not critical. It's just it's a curiosity thing. Like, wow, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. They weren't a high profile British band, but they were recognizable. They were certainly an '80s band, and so that was kind of fun. But yeah, so I got my citizenship in '97, and a year later got married. And the whole time that I was going to UNLV, I was working for a guy who I had met in our congregation, a guy by the name of Jerry Allen, or John Allen, and he was an appraiser, and he needed somebody to help him go digital, because computers were, that was a thing in the early 90s and mid-90s. It was becoming more prevalent that you needed to go get onto the internet and have a computer and all that good stuff. And prior to me helping him go digital, it was all just he had an IBM Selectric typewriter, and I would type reports for him on that. And we used these old impact printers that you'd have to form feed, a stack of pages through. And yeah, it was the good old times, man.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and as I worked for him, he was like, yeah, you really ought to consider this industry. And I was like, I've never even heard of appraisers before working for you. And I was like, no, I'm going to school to become a teacher. But as time clicked by, a couple of years, doing the appraisal, working for him, I was like, I make much more money as an appraiser than as a teacher. And so I started working with him in '92, and then in '99, I got my certification as a residential appraiser, and so jumped into the industry full-fledged in '99, and started doing that, and that's been a great job. Honestly, I would never have thought of that as a kid. I didn't even know that something like that existed, and but it's been great.
Now, had you kept teaching, decided I'm going to stay being a teacher and maybe do that on the side or something, what kind of class would you like to have taught?
So I took science classes because I wanted to be a science teacher. I honestly originally wanted to be a shop teacher, but that was phasing out big time, and everybody could see the writing on the wall that shops were going to just disappear off into the horizon.
Do they even have those anymore in high schools? Any like wood shop, metal shop, anything like that?
They have some specialized high schools in some areas.
Not at every high school like they used to.
No,
Wow.
not at all.
That's a shame, man. That's where the focus should have gone.
Right. Because I loved my wood shop class in high school, and I took an auto shop class, not with Mr. Amber, and I don't remember Mr. Amber.
Yeah, I took one with him too. Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the guy he taught the only other class that Amber didn't teach because Amber needed a break or whatever, and I can't remember the old guy's name, but he actually lived in the neighborhood.
Simmons or something like that?
Oh, yeah, it might have been. Yeah, Mr. Sims. That's who it was. Mr.
Sims, that's it. Okay, yeah. Talk about pulling some stuff out from 45, 50 years
Right.
ago.
And he was a really good teacher, but unfortunately there were a few, ne'er-do-wells in the class who just wanted to do nothing but goof off, and it was the goof off class, because if you took an Amber class, Amber was, you did his class, but Mr. Sims' class was for all of us dropouts, and I didn't want to be a dropout. I actually wanted to learn more about cars and stuff like that, and I did, but it was, unfortunately, there were kids smoking pot in the class during the time, and kids would do spit wads and throw it at Mr. Sims' head from behind, and it was just a goofball class.
Yeah.
But so anyway, finally graduated from UNLV in 2003, and or is it 2002? It was 2002. It was hard to finish the degree because the whole time I've got my appraisal license, I'm appraising, and it was harder and harder to do my student teaching and finish all of that up, but did it, got my degree, but never taught. So too much hassle.
I don't think I'd want to be a teacher today. I think there's so many politics and just garbage that goes on, and the kids are one thing, but I think the upper echelon, the management, no, I don't.
Right.
No thanks.
That was also kind of eye-opening. Was doing my student teaching. I had to be there the whole time, school day, and the thing was, it was Monday through Friday, And I'd have to show up on staff day too when the kids weren't there and sit through all the little staff meetings and trainings, quote unquote. And the politics was crazy. The science department, I did my final student teaching at Roy Martin Middle School, which is a tough school.
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted. I kind of wanted the tough school thing. I wanted to be hopefully somebody who could help all the kids struggling in the tough neighborhoods. But the science department, there was a lot of infighting within the science department and drama, and then even in the administration, there was just a lot of back talk behind people's backs, and I was like, geez, man, I would have thought you guys, but it's kind of normal, really. You get office politics, but then some of the training classes we sat through. One of them was where they had some lady come in from the school district, and she went on and on about the plight of the children of illegal immigrants. And I'd become a citizen, and I knew that there were hundreds of pathways to citizenship, and I knew that there really wasn't a lot of excuses not to get, a status to where you could be here legally. And I wasn't very sympathetic to, trying to coddle illegals and or the I guess they call them anchor babies now. So if they're born here, I thought, okay, whatever. But as far as trying to cater, I was like, I'm afraid, being a foreigner myself, and having gone through one of the hundreds of programs that are available, I don't have a lot of sympathy for them not trying to do something to make themselves legal.
Exactly. Because even up through the last few years ago, there were so many different ways of doing it and getting yourself in here legally and become legally here. But 20 million people decide they had to cross the border illegally. It's like, come on, guys. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying on that stuff. It's like, the problem needs to be fixed, and it's being fixed now as we're talking. But, this isn't supposed to go into politics. I usually don't go into politics on this.
Sorry.
That's my other show. No, but it's part of it, and that's part of your experience that you saw there. So it's your life that you saw, and it's very true. So, so you got your started appraising. Yeah, I would have thought you were going to go into, because I know how good you draw. I thought, well, he would say art.
Right.
He'd like to go into art and help teach art, but because you are quite an artist, actually. You and your brother, Talbot is amazing too. So.
Right.
You both are just very talented artists.
Yeah, that would have been fun. But I liked science and I liked shop more than anything. But I just decided to go the science route because I really enjoyed science, and so I had endorsements to teach, earth science, life science, physical science, biology, and I would have been like a couple of classes shy of being able to teach physics as well on a high school level. And so, I had thought to myself, after getting my degree, if I was going to teach, that I could, go into, wrap up that physics as well, because physics was pretty fascinating to me as well. But yeah, I just never did it because the appraising thing kept me busy and kept the money rolling. So
yeah. Yeah, I remember because I knew that you were into the geology, that type of science too, because you taught the scouts, and when we did the merit badges and stuff like that, you'd always teach the geology to the kids, and
yep.
We'd go to places that had layers of strata that you could look at and explain all the different things that were going on there, and so they could understand it. And
yeah, I took a great geology class at UNLV, and man, I learned so much about the valley. And all the rocks around us, the dry rocks, the desert dirt.
At one time was at the bottom of a big ocean, and
right, bottom of the lake, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So we went backwards a little bit, but that's okay. So let's go back to you graduated your teaching, then you moved on to doing your appraisals. Then you got married, and how'd you meet Taria?
Yeah, so we actually met. We on campus. The church has a building, and the institute building we call it. And actually, at the time, this was 97, 98, the Latter-day Saint Student Association was actually the largest organization on campus. And so I was attending, we had a congregation that met on Sunday at the Institute building, and so called the University Ward. And I was attending the University Ward. And I remember, I think it was an activity, is when I first saw Taria, and thought, man, that girl's pretty cute. And then I always kid with her and say that when she came into the building, the room kind of went dark and a mirror ball dropped out of the ceiling and started, and the song Disco Inferno started playing. And that's not really what happened.
It's
in
a
my
good
mind's
story.
eye, yeah.
It's a good story. What the heck?
Yeah.
You know?
So I was able, it just kind of happened. We were able to spend time together at a couple of activities, and then just things really went well. I think we dated for about 3 months altogether, and then I was like, this is the one. I don't need any other. I had been engaged once before, and that didn't work out, and I felt like I was ready to get married. I was actually 29. And so I thought, man, I'm not getting any younger. It's high time I settled down. So I proposed, she's accepted, and we got married in '98, March of '98, and so it's been heaven ever since.
You couldn't hear me or see me, but you might have been able to hear me roll my eye, because any guy that says been heaven ever since isn't,
I heard your eyes rolling.
you heard him. Marriage is not supposed to be heaven all the time. There's going to be ups and downs. So
Yeah, of course, of course.
But it's sticking it out and making it happen and work. And now you have, what, 4 kids?
Yeah.
Four,
Four
okay.
kids. Yep.
Yeah, I sit there and I think about that and I go, man, when he had just the 2 and they were little tiny ones, we all went to Disneyland one year.
That was good time.
Got some fun stuff there.
Yep.
Okay, so got them married, and so she was going to college. Did she get her degree before you guys got married, or?
No, she was working, she was starting her degree, and she finished up her degree after we got married. In fact, let's see. Oh, so when I got my degree in 2000, Chaz had just been born when I got my degree, and then trying to think who was born next when she got her degree. Anyway, so she finished up her degree, got her bachelor's. She wanted to be a pediatrician, and so she had actually gotten her bachelor's was in science, in pre-professional biology, and but then marriage and kids kind of ended that for her. But she actually went back and got her master's in teaching, and so she's teaching now, and in fact she's been teaching for about 8 years. And
where's she at?
She's at a public charter school in North Las Vegas. Really, really good school. Somerset Losi. It's part of the Academica group of schools, and Academica has a group of Somerset schools, a group of Pinecrest schools, a group of some other, I forget, but they're really seemed like to me a well-organized group, and they do a really good job of putting the schools together. And so she's teaching at a school that's K through 12. She's teaching high school science. She's teaching biology, honors biology, anatomy and physiology, and I think she's a great teacher, better than I would have been, I think. But
That's awesome.
Yep.
2 teachers in the family, and but only one of them still teaching. So.
that's right.
Now, you were at one time, you were one of the assistants in the scouting program with me.
Right.
And I was at Eternal Life Scoutmaster in this group here.
Right.
What did I do that 10 years or something like that?
Yeah.
That was a long run.
Hatched a lot of eagles, though.
Yeah, a lot of kids came out of this place here. I'll tell you, it's just great times. I have, as I tell people, I have lots of sons. I've got like, I don't know, 60, 70 sons, from all the kids that came through the program and stuff.
Right.
And there was some great times, scout camps and stuff, and
Yep. Yep. Really good times.
amazing fun. And yeah. So where else are we going with this now? So now you've been appraising. The difference in prices of homes from when you started till today is mind blowing.
It is. It is.
I mean, what's the name of the place up? It's out west, all the way. It's up. It's really super exclusive. I mean, the lots are like $5 million a lot or something like that. Or
Yeah, it's called the Summit Club.
the Summit Club.
Yeah. And you're right. A piece of dirt starts at about $5 million.
How big? Just get a definition of how.
Yeah,
big
so
a-
they're about a half acre roughly.
Okay, so they're not little tiny slivers. They're actually
There
good
are a
size.
few little sliver lots in there too, though, which is mind-boggling. In fact, some of the little sliver lots, because of their view vantage and stuff like that, have rung in at about 5-6 million too, and they're only like about 7,000 square feet, and so
That's less than a quarter acre.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, just kind of packed in tightly, and I'm like, why would you spend this money? In fact, so there's been a few builders go in and do some production homes, and I don't remember the name of the builder off the top of my head, but he's got like a string of about 30, 40 different homes in small clusters spread out, and those homes sell for about $12 million. The home and the lot about $12 million, and
So you basically spend $5 million on the land, and then you have to spend $12 million on your house, basically.
no, it's $5 million,
All-
and then another $10 million to 9 to 10 mil to
Okay.
get the so total package land and house is $12 million.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
Right. Yeah. Come back to reality here.
Yeah, gee whiz.
The HOA or the association fee is about $1,800 a month, and to over $2,500 a month in some cases, and so depending on your membership levels. But it's an interesting community because it is all about it is a concierge community for sure, and because I remember interviewing one of the realtors who was previewing properties, and who actually worked for the developer, and he was saying, hey, this other neighboring guard gated community, if you pick up the phone and ask for help, maybe they'll call you back. And he said, but if you pick up the phone here, 5 people will show up at your house within an hour. And he said, we are all about concierge. And I actually got to go preview their clubhouse and amenities, and it is absolutely a 5-star hotel kind of mentality. They're just incredible. Absolutely wait on you hand and foot, and just an incredible facility too. And I just don't know. I don't live in that world. I don't understand. Paying $2,000 a month for an HOA fee, and or buying a house for $10 to $12 million.
But well, do these people, in the times that we live, is there a place somewhere designated for the homeless to live in that community?
I know, how rude. They got to let them in. No. In fact, it's situated in Summerlin. It's kind of the south end of Summerlin, and you're lucky to find anybody homeless in Summerlin. And they kind of somehow or other get ushered out somehow. I don't know.
Encouraged to find somewhere else to be homeless, yeah.
Well, homeless too means you've got a BMW that's 10 years old.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, don't talk to them. They're poor. No, it's a world that I do not understand on that. I mean, I comprehend it a little bit because because the world I've lived in show business and hotels and stuff like that, where you see just that type of wealth is not all that unusual.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done a number of appraisals in there. There's actually a condo or a couple of condo developments in there as well, but the condos sell almost in the same price range, and they're incredible.
Okay. Well, that's the end of come to the end of episode number 2. I'm going to exit out of here for a minute. Then we're going to come back in just a minute with episode numero.
Trace.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's how you do that one. I've been away from Vegas for a while. I forgot how to speak that. Yeah. So anyways, here we go on that. Thank you for listening to Main Street, the Craig L. Hayes Show.